Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're talking about currency. This is episode 4 of a 5-part series I'm doing. If you haven't seen the previous videos, watch that first. Come back here again. If you have watched those videos, thank you. This one is going to be talking about currency. So let's just get into it. First of all, let's talk about how many currencies we have in game right now. We have Battlegrounds tokens. So you win Battleground matches, you get the tokens. We have Glory. You do AQ, you get Glory. You have Loyalty that comes from War. You have Mysterium, which basically comes from anywhere they feel like it. Honestly, they haven't thought this resource through at all. But usually you see them in event quests and side quests. You have artifacts that you get from incursions. Then you have Radiance. If you actually do well in all of the game modes above, like Battlegrounds and Alliance War and Alliance Quest, there's actually a new competitive Radiance currency to add on top of the existing currency. Now they have something called Ethereum, which is basically a currency that auto exchanges itself, so you get milestone rewards in the monthly event quest. And then there's the original currency of gold. You also have units, and then you have the incredible battle chips. And fun fact, guess what battle chips do? They give you gold and units. So this is actually one of the most redundant currencies that we have, which actually gives more currency out of it. And I don't even want to talk about how there's more currency on the web store. So if you are someone who subscribes to the monthly sigil, you have sigil credits. And then if you buy stuff on the web store, you get loyalty points. That's more currency to spend. And you get this currency by exchanging your real world currency, which is money. What's the solution here? Okay, first of all, a very simple, straightforward thing that Kabam needs to do is completely rid the game of loyalty. Okay, Alliance War does not need to have its own currency. Make Glory the only alliance-based currency that there is. Okay, you win Alliance War, you get Glory. You win the Alliance War seasons, you get more Glory. And that is the easiest way to fix the problem of this redundant currency. Because let me bring you back to the game for a second. If you go into the loyalty store right now, you will see that most things on sale on the loyalty store are Alliance War potions and revives. There's some dumb catalyst stuff that they've thrown in here for a ridiculous cost, by the way. Excuse me. I can get this for 2,000 battle chips. Are you telling me 2,000 battle chips are worth 750,000 loyalty? I don't think so. Alright. So the main point about having loyalty is to be getting these Alliance War health revives and health potions. So if you don't play Alliance War, you don't get loyalty. If you don't get loyalty, you can't buy the health potions for Alliance War. So if you don't want to spend your time playing Alliance War, you can completely ignore that game mode and will lose mostly nothing. You lose nothing for not playing that game mode, because what that game mode gives as a reward is basically the cost to play the game mode in the first place. So this is a stupid loop that has essentially no day-to-day incentives for players to involve themselves with, which is why it makes no sense for loyalty to even exist in the game. All right, switch it up, make it glory-based. The glory store is awesome. Obviously, once there is a influx of glory coming in, Kabam will have to one more time redo the glory store. But I feel like if they care about this game going in a healthy direction and staying strong for another 10 years to come, this is the least amount of effort they could put in into reviving alliance-based game modes. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go on to arena crystals. So like I said, if you play a bunch of arenas, you get battle chips. You use those battle chips to buy arena crystals, which give gold and units, which is again another currency within the game. So this is another circular loop of why does the resource that we get from one game mode give out resource again. It should be a relatively simple fix, which is remove arena crystals from the game altogether. Kabam in 2025 definitely has enough data to figure out what the average output of gold and units the arena crystals give, right? If I remember this right, Brian Grant years ago calculated what the average output of arena crystals is randomly on a live stream. So I think if he can do it, Kabam, with all of their backhand data, can 100% do this. So remove arena crystals completely, okay? Which means now there has to be somewhere to spend battle chips. Well, there is a brand new battle chips store. Trade battle chips for revives and potions, not just for one game mode, but for every single game mode. For your in-game questing, for your alliance wars, for your battlegrounds, for your incursions, for alliance quests. If you do arenas, and if you've seen my previous videos where I suggested what the change to arenas should be, all of the gold and units that one would have gotten by opening battle chips can just be moved to arena milestones. This will be a significant enough output. They can actually use this opportunity to nerf units from arenas, which, mind you, they have been wanting to do for a very long time, but they haven't because they fear that the game players are going to revolt. And I think the direction the game is going, that would be the least of their problems, because players are unhappy with how many dead game modes we have, that actually making a commitment to improve the health of the game for years to come is a step in the positive direction. And this work that I'm suggesting Kabam put in is 100% in Kabam's favor. So how would this battle store essentially work? Okay, battle chip store work. So revives and potions exclusively are now available in the battle chip store. So if you look in game, there's a few things like loyalty based alliance war revives and gold based raids revives. Both of these cost like 1 gold and 1 loyalty. I think those should still exist 100%, but just move them to the battle chip store. 1 battle chip for 1 raids revive, 1 battle chip for 1 team revive in alliance war, and for the rest of the potions and health potions and revives, the battle chip store becomes the exclusive store where these are available, outside of units, obviously. What this will do is this brings arenas back into the limelight. It makes it a very relevant and key game mode that players, especially free-to-play players, need to grind to get revives and potions. And if you watched the previous video, you know that arenas will be fun because not only are you getting battle chips to make sure that you get all types of revives and potions, you're getting gold, you're getting units, you're getting ISO, and you're also getting shards and rank up resources, which means arenas will be a non-stop pour of resources if players dedicate their time to play arenas. And if they don't, players can always get revives and potions with units, and this will also make the value of units, well, this will basically bring back the value of units. This will make it easier for Kabam to monetize units because they can now control how many units are flooded in the game and through what channels. If the majority of the units stay in arenas, they can now take units out of other game modes that they don't necessarily want to have units given out in, and they can monetize people wanting to buy units because that's the only other way they are going to buy these potions and revives. Okay, this, I understand it's slightly controversial, but if you just step back for 1 minute and think about the health of the game right now and how haphazard the stores are and how haphazardly you have to get revives and potions from game modes that give the resource like glory, and then you spend the same glory to get revives and potions, and then you do alliance war, and then the same loyalty is spent again doing alliance war. I think players who do this competitively will understand that having a single straightforward way to get revives and potions established in the game is healthier than having to constantly change things up. What about Mysterium? First of all, I don't understand why Kabam decided that we needed another store. Okay, not only did they give us another store with another resource that no one asked for, the store itself sucks. It is unclear what each item is valued, and you are stuck with getting some items that you don't necessarily want out of that store, and you're spending expensive Mysterium that is so controlled on stuff that you necessarily would never spend it on. So let me bring you back to the game for one more minute, and let's look at what the Trader's Outpost, which is where you spend Mysterium, looks like. As a Valiant player, I have absolutely no need for Tier 2 Alpha, but for some reason it is bundled with one of the most important things that I do need, which is these Tier 6 and Tier 3 Alpha catalysts that are extremely relevant with 7-star champions, but I feel like somewhere I am also paying for this resource that I wouldn't necessarily pick out. Okay, the same goes for the shards here. Okay, I'm someone who has so many 7-star champions that I don't want to spend currency on shards or 5-star relics. Okay, one or the other, I would still take the shards, but for 5-star relic crystals, all I want out of this is the one single 7-star 6-star, because I don't spend so much in the game. These are really difficult for me to get, but I do not want to spend any of my resource on this particular item. But because this store is so bundled up that I am spending Mysterium without having any control over the resource itself. Okay, and Kabam themselves, by the way, do not know where they want to put Mysterium. If you look into YouTube and just type out Mysterium, go to Rich the Man's channel and see how many videos he's made about Mysterium, you will realize that Mysterium pops up in different ways in different game modes. Either it's a side event, either it's a special event, either it's an objective based event, or sometimes it is now thrown into event quest, which is monthly. So even Kabam doesn't know how they want to spend Mysterium or where they want to put Mysterium, but they've built this resource that players now kind of have to overextend to get every single month. Get rid of it. Okay, I don't see the point of having Mysterium in the game. Remove it. So let's talk about the things that I touched up on. Okay, I know it was a lot. I went on a bit too long, but remove loyalty from the game. Make glory the primary alliance currency and reward. Okay, so any alliance-based event gives out glory, and that is standard across the board. Okay, you have to tweak the glory store because the influx of glory will now be higher. I would recommend that they need to remove small pieces of resources that they're selling, like tier 4 alpha catalysts, and make it an entire tier 4 alpha catalyst, because that way players know what they're spending on and can actually decide on saving resources, as opposed to having to split it every 2 weeks when you refresh the store. I would much rather invest in a resource by saving it and loading up on as much as I can get and then spending it to get desired outcome, as opposed to buying small pieces of it week after week when the store refreshes, not knowing how much value I'm actually getting out of that resource, if that makes sense. For example, if I do 1 week of Alliance Quest and I get X amount of glory, I don't know exactly what I'm getting for my glory when I trade it in, because I got 5% of a tier 5 basic, but I got 20% of a tier 4 alpha, and then I got a certain 10% of a tier 7 basic. Over time, when players are invested in so many different game modes, the value that the glory store is bringing becomes less and less obvious. And in a game that wants to thrive for years to come, the value of spending currency within each store needs to be clear and obvious. So you need to tweak the glory store to make it an actual high value currency in game. Okay. And finally, remove Mysterium. Okay. All of the resources that we saw from the Mysterium store, again, can just be moved to Arena milestones. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I talked about how a game mode like Arena can be refreshed, and one of the arenas that I pitched be introduced would have a bunch of rank up resources. Okay, These rank up resources will scale based on your progression. So a Valiant player like me will have good number of resources to take 7 stars to rank 2. Maybe in the future go rank 3 when rank 3s are more common and rank 4 isn't the upper ceiling. And Mysterium already has a bunch of resources that are rank up-esque. Just move them to that 6-star arena. Make arena relevant again. We don't want another stupid game mode. Mysterium should not be what I get out of doing side events and side quests. I want to see exact rewards that I get from side events and event quests. I want those rewards directly. I don't want to do a quest, get a currency, but also get rewards, and then spend currency to kind of get the same rewards that I also already got. I hope that makes sense. Alright, that's all I had for this video. The next topic and the final episode is going to be talking about Kabam's in-game monetization. Alright, it is one of the more aspirational videos that I've made, so I hope you guys watch. Again, it's the first link in the description. All of these videos are out at the same time. Please comment what you thought about the ideas that I brought up in this video and drop a thumbs up. It helps out the channel. Alright, I'll see you guys. Thanks.